I walked in to hear my son scream, "You're not my real mom." The words hung like smoke, choking the air out of our living room. My wife, Ellen, stood frozen, her eyes glistening with tears she refused to let fall. My 16-year-old son, Jake, towered over her, his face red with a fury I'd never seen before. My younger daughter, Lily, only 8, clutched her stuffed rabbit in the corner, her small frame trembling. I dropped my briefcase, the thud breaking the silence, and felt my world tilt. What kind of father misses the cracks forming in his own home? It was a Tuesday evening, the kind where the sunset paints the sky in lazy oranges and pinks, mocking the chaos inside our modest suburban house. I'd been working late, as usual, trying to close a deal that would finally get me that promotion. Ellen, Charlie, Ellen deserved a break. I decided she'd been carrying the weight of this family, and maybe I hadn't seen how heavy it was. I booked her a week-long spa retreat in Sedona, a place she'd always dreamed of visiting. "Go," I told her that night, as she packed a small suitcase, her eyes still red from crying. "You need this." She nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "I just want him to understand." Jake, meanwhile, was grounded. No phone, no friends, no car. His punishment, babysitting Lily for the week. "You think you can say whatever you want and walk away," I said, my voice low but sharp. "You're going to learn what it takes to hold this family together?" His jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. He knew he'd crossed a line. The first day was a disaster. Lily, usually a chatterbox, and was quiet, her eyes darting to Jake like he was a stranger. Jake, sullen and resentful, barely looked up from the couch. I'd catch him muttering under his breath. Things like, "This is stupid," or "She's not even my real sister." It stung, but I held firm. He needed to face the consequences of his words. Ellen called from Sedona, her voice lighter but still fragile. "It's beautiful here." "Tom," she said, describing the red rock canyons and quiet mornings. "But I keep thinking about Jake. What if he's right? What if I'm not enough?" I gripped the phone, my heart aching. Ellen had been Jake's stepmother since he was 5, after his biological mother left without a trace. She'd poured her soul into raising him, and this was her reward, a teenager's cruel words cutting deeper than any knife. By day 3, Jake and Lily were at odds. Lily spilled juice on the carpet, and Jake snapped, "Can't you do anything right?" She ran to her room, sobbing. I found her later, curled up with her rabbit, whispering, "Does Jake hate me?" I knelt beside her, my throat tight. "He's just mad, sweetheart. Not at you." But I wasn't sure I believed it myself. I sat Jake down that night. "You're breaking her heart," I said, "and your mother's. You think this is just about you." He looked away, his fists clenched. "She's not my mom," he muttered. I leaned forward, forcing him to meet my eyes. "She chose you, Jake. Every day. She chooses you. That's more than some kids get." The week dragged on. Jake was sloppy with his responsibilities: burnt toast for breakfast, forgotten laundry, Lily's bedtime ignored. But I noticed small changes. One evening, I came home to find them on the couch, watching some animated movie Lily loved. Jake wasn't smiling, but he wasn't scowling either. Lily leaned against him, her rabbit tucked under her arm, and for a moment, they looked like siblings again. Ellen returned on Sunday, her skin glowing from the desert sun, but her eyes still carrying that shadow of doubt. Jake was in the kitchen, attempting to make dinner spaghetti, the one dish he knew. Lily was setting the table, humming softly. When Ellen walked in, Jake froze, then mumbled, "Hey." It wasn't an apology, but it was something. That night, we sat down as a family. The air was thick, but I pushed through. "We're talking about this." I said, "No more running." Jake stared at his plate, but Ellen reached out, her hand resting near his. "I love you, Jake," she said, her voice steady despite the quiver in it. I'm not trying to replace anyone. I just want to be here. Jake didn't respond, but he didn't pull away either. Lily, ever the peacemaker, piped up, I missed you. Mommy. The word hit like a dart, and I saw Jake flinch. He knew what it meant to her, to all of us. Over the next few weeks, things didn't magically fix themselves. Jake was still a teenager, all sharp edges and stubborn pride. But he started helping with Lily's homework, even if he grumbled about it. Ellen began opening up about her own fears, admitting she sometimes felt like an outsider in our family. It was raw, messy, but honest. One night, I overheard Jake talking to Lily in her room. I don't hate you, he said, his voice low. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. Lily, wise beyond her years, replied, You're my brother. That's enough. I stood outside the door, my chest tight with hope and pain. The truth was, we were all figuring it out, Ellen, trying to love a boy who pushed her away. Jake, wrestling with a past he barely remembered. Lily, caught in the crossfire. And me, realizing I'd been too absent, too focused on providing to see the family I was building. We weren't perfect, but we were trying. What do you think? Where do you draw the line between a teenager's rebellion and a family's breaking point? How do you balance love, loyalty, and the truth in a family built on choice rather than blood? Share your thoughts below.